Hello, welcome to Kit Plays Hiveswap Friendsim, Volume 17. We almost there. Ugh. Let's get to it. Get right to it. Volume 17 of Teen and Tech, Acerbic. Ah, yes. This is it, fellas. Another night of laughter and camaraderie. Another night of joy and communion with some totally normal teens who would never Ha, just kidding, idiot. You're still on Alternia. You just know one of these miserable chuckle fucks is around here somewhere, waiting for the exact right moment to inundate you with another disgusting dose of friendship. Who is going to be the author of your destruction on this accursed evening? Let's take a look. We got Angsty Goth and the Beefcake. All right, Dariah. I'm not looking forward to voicing Nike. I'm not. I'll say that right now. That's going to hurt. She is cute. I'll give you that. I'm honestly surprised I haven't seen any RP accounts for her. If they're out there, they haven't come across my radar. Alright. Your feet drag as you walk, every limb heavy and slow, and your thoughts are cloudy and dull. Your palm husk is filled with unanswered texts. You feel guilty about this in the back of your mind where real feelings live crammed together, because the front of your mind is too busy being lethargic and numb. Being a bad friend goes against the core tenets of your beliefs, but answering texts just seems like too much effort. You're not sure where this particular malaise came from, just that the usual friend-making animus that drives you is still there, but it doesn't feel strong enough to overcome how tired you are of everything else. You can't quite remember how it felt to care that much about companionship and camaraderie. In fact, right now you can't remember how it felt to care about much of anything. Your thoughts drift to fantasies of driving your car into the uninhabited Alternian desert until you run out of fuel and perhaps letting the sun have its way with you. Could be part of that feeling that you've almost made all the friends there are to make, and there's little left for you to do on this planet. It could be weeks of trauma catching up and sinking you into depression to protect you from thinking about it all. Either way, it just feels like so much effort to do anything, and you'd sort of welcome oblivion if it showed up right now to offer its sweet embrace. That is a mood. That is a mood. This is such a mood. Why is my phone being a dip? Alright. Your listless walking has taken you into a familiar neighborhood. Ah, the cerulean part of town. You smile as you reminisce, sweet memories peeking through like beams of sunlight through the fog of your apathy. Not far from here is Malik's Hive, with all of its hacking equipment and charming upper middle class atmosphere of entitlement and complacence mixed with vaguely socially aware concern. And though you've only seen pictures of it on Chitter, you know that Ramel's hipster art studio slash hive is also in this neighborhood. And one block over is Ardada's place, which gave you your gruesome and troubling introduction to Alternian social mores. One taught you love, one taught you patience, one taught you pain, or something like that. I love this music. I really love this track. It's fantastic. That troll in front has some interesting hair. Ardada is a bitch. She's just such a well-written bitch. Sorry, I really love this track. I just want to listen to it for a minute. The hive you're closest to is actually Elward's. And as you shamble closer, you realize that a lot of other trolls seem to be converging here too. Fishing out your palm husk, you see that the unread message from Elward is an invitation to a party at her place. Looking around you, you feel a flame of your old desire to meet and greet rekindling in your heart. There are plenty of trolls here you haven't met yet. Plenty of opportunities for friendship. The now roaring fire in your belly feels a little artificial, like someone just injected you with friend-making hormones to flood out your regular human melancholy. But you're not going to complain because this is vastly preferable. As you're walking briskly toward Elward's hive, you spot a troll lurking in the shadows by Elward's back door. Curious, you approach, and when you get closer, you can spot the jade green in her outfit. Although there's not much of her blood color in comparison to what other trolls seem to sport, because she's mostly wearing black, and spikes, and black spikes. There she is. There she is. Angst in a troll. Angst in troll form. Ugh, it's you. Guess it makes sense you'd be here. You're probably friends with Elward, huh? Whatever. Yeah, you're friends with Elward, but you didn't come here for the party. You're just in the neighborhood. You try to mimic Daria's disaffected slouch. It's not hard, as you can just channel the you from about 60 seconds ago who was disaffected indeed. From the approving arch of Daria's eyebrow, you think you're doing a pretty good job. Yeah, parties are lame. Most parties are, anyway. This one might be cool. Elward's pretty cool. Oh, there's a blush. I mean, she seems alright. I don't think she's that cool. I just think her hair and clothes and personality don't completely suck is all. You tactfully don't comment on the green blush to Elward's cheeks when she's talking about, or to Daria's cheeks when she's talking about Elward, nor the way she keeps glancing at the door like she's hoping someone will invite her in. She's clearly trying to sneak into this party and doesn't have an invite. She's so edgy. When a branch snaps in the bushes, Daria startles and looks around shiftily. You wonder if she's supposed to be out on her own this far from the caverns and all. I'm not a baby like Wanshi. So what if I snuck out? The cloister rules are so lame. Branya is so lame. Can't believe Elward used to hang out with her. But I guess if she hadn't befriended Branya, then I never would have met her. It's hard to meet non-Jade Bloods in the caverns. All the time you're underground with nothing but Lucai and grubs and the same stupid Jades every day. It sucks down there. Darai's imitation grubhorn bracelets clunk as she folds her arms over her chest. Her heavy makeup makes it look like her eyes are twin black holes, where all sense of fun and caring about things might go to die. She's giving you a marked contrast from how Branya talked about the caverns, with the peace and quiet and safety they offered compared to Alternia's surface. And other than that time Lynera nearly killed you in a cave, and that time you were nearly trampled by a rampaging Lucis, you remember liking the caverns. Pfft, you would think that. I don't know why I thought you might be cool. You might be friends with Elward, but you're also friends with Branya and Lynera. They're the two most boring trolls on this planet. You can't help but feel slightly defensive of your friends. Sure, Lynera is Lynera, but you wouldn't call her boring. And Branya is very fond of rules, it's true, but she can hang. Ugh, whatever. This conversation is dumb. I don't care if you can't get me into the party. Nothing matters anyway. Just make your stupid choice and get on with it. Suggest she goes home. Thinking about the Jade Blood Caverns has got you really missing them. The quiet monotony, the cute little grubs, the dank air and darkness. You can't think of a better place to lie down and have a depression nap. Perhaps even a depression coma. So you straighten up out of your slouch and tell Daria that regardless of her opinion on Branya and how cool or lame she is, those cloister rules probably exist for a reason, right? Maybe the two of you can go back to the caverns together. Ugh. Fine. Be a goody 2 strut pod encasements. I'm gonna go somewhere where it's not so lame. Lame. Oh, you want the death ending? Alright. Death ending it is. Party hard. And what the hell? It's not your job to keep anyone in line, and it's not like you have a great understanding of why even the older Jade Bloods need to stay underground anyway. If Daria wants to sneak into parties and get into trouble, who are you to say no? Daria expresses no pleasure at your decision to get her into the party. She just shrugs and rolls her eyes. You shrug and roll your eyes back. You can play the role of disaffected teen with the best of them. You take her around to the front door. Hey, you're looking forward to seeing Elward again. When you met her, you didn't have nearly as many friends as you do now, and in retrospect, you know you came off as kind of sycophantic. Wouldn't it be great if you could introduce Elward to the new, popular, and knowledgeable you? As you're walking up the steps, a huge shadow dwarfs yours. You glance up to see Chahoot, of all trolls, grinning above you. Well, hey, little one. I remember you. And who is this new little one you got with you? Chahoot switches her interest from you to Dariah, grinning down at her. Dariah isn't huge for a jade blood or anything, but she seems absurdly tiny with Chahoot looming down at her like that. Yay! Big clown mama! Yay! Her face remains impassive and bored, but she scuffs one of her big black boots on the ground and twists one of her spiky bracelets around on her wrist. Cute. Don't see many little jades outside the caverns. I've always found greenies fascinating, so devoted to the continuation of the species. What a holy mission. There's a face! There's a face! Ah, that's a face. Hoot moved slow and lazily, like she has all the time in the world and no conceivable reason to rush, and reaches out to pat Dariah's shoulder. She lets her hand linger, one claw resting against Dariah's neck. Ain't it a dangerous proposition to be so far away from your green brothers and sisters? Unless you're hiding something in those pretty veins. A slimy chill runs down your spine. Dariah seems frozen to the spot, staring straight ahead at Chahoot's bosom in front of her. You think Chahoot is joking, but it can be hard to tell. With clowns, their humor is just so much more highbrow than everyone else's. Just joking. This looks like a good party, even if Elward is too blasphemous for my taste sometimes. See both of you little ones inside. Yeah, she is so pretty. And then she ambles away, bending down to duck inside the door to the party. You hear party sounds, music and laughter, and clinking drinks, and what could be the sound of someone being murdered, which qualifies as party noise on this planet. Then the door swings shut again, and you and Dariah look at each other. Dariah's heavy makeup can make it hard to read her expression, but you can still tell that she's rattled. You know what? It looks like this party is filled with lame conformers. All these high bloods that buy into the system and do what they're told, even Elward. We can find something better to do somewhere else. Yeah, to hell with this party. You're down to find your own fun, especially if that means not putting Dariah in the way of potentially murder-happy clowns. As you saunter away from the party, you realize that Dariah is looking at you expectantly. Well, you got this reputation for being all unconventional and weird and rebellious. Everyone seems to think that you're like totally fucking with the conventions of society or whatever. So you got any suggestions for cool shit to do? God, you've sure felt a lot of pressure to be quirky since word has spread about your manic pixie dream alien ways. It's not like you're trying to be a vehicle for other characters to project onto, assisting in character growth and insight for those around you, while your impulse decisions and carefree ways somehow keep yourself stagnant and forever unchanged. It just seems to sometimes be like that. Anyway, you're tired, and it's daunting to have a punk teen expecting you to come up with suggestions for cool stuff. You have a feeling she's just gonna shoot down whatever you suggest. You rack your brain trying to think of anywhere from your many adventures that Dariah might like. Your think pan comes up with zilch and squat, and she's starting to look bored with you. Confessing that you can't think of anything is probably an option if you want Dariah to be your friend, and as exhausted and disillusioned as you feel with your socialite routine, you like her and you want a bond. So you want death? Is that what you said? You want death? To know. What do you want to do? You tell Dariah you have no ideas for cool things to do because everything on this planet is lame. But she's from here. Doesn't she know of any non-lame places to go? Ugh, I told you, I'm stuck underground all the time. It's not my fault that I'm literally sheltered and never get to do anything fun. Oops. Maybe this was the wrong approach. She seems pissed at you. But then Dariah sighs loudly and uncrosses her arms from her chest. I do know of one place that's pretty alright, I guess. Better than here, anyway. It's far, though. Not a problem, you got wheels. You were walking around the neighborhood because, well, you felt lifeless and glum and your car needs alien fuel. Which you've been reluctant to ask someone how to get because you don't want to be told it runs on grub grease or something like that. But now you have purpose again, and you're more than willing to provide transportation in service of your new friendship goal. You take Dariah to your car parked a few blocks away and she directs you where to go. Drive through neighborhood after neighborhood, through the yellow blood slums where you met Follicle and Cuprum, the busy urban sector where you had adventures with the Gora, and the austere indigo blood enclave where Gallic lives. Eventually the buildings get sparse, and you think about how you were yearning to drive out into the barren landscape and not die maybe, but stop. Just let it all end. You don't think Dariah will take you all the way out here just for you both to meet sweet oblivion, but who knows? Trolls can be kind of hard to predict. Just when you think you've reached a point where there can't be any more city or suburbs left, a rubble of massive old buildings comes into view. It looks almost like a miniature version of the main Alternian city that you're used to. Except it's all abandoned and mostly ruined. Nothing around here looks inhabitable. Rumor has it that some of the trolls who lived here pissed off the Condis. So she culled this whole town. Lime Blitz. That would have been way back in the day. It's ancient history now. If there were any survivors, I guess they'd be either dead or up in space. Anyway, all these old buildings are kind of sick. There's never anyone else here, and I'm into that. You drive until she tells you to stop in front of a huge, crumbling building. And even though this thing is half gone, you can still tell it's a mall. It seems a bit different from the mall you visited with Polypa, even aside from the fact that it's totally dark and there's no one inside it. It seems more old-fashioned. A lot more like one of your familiar Earth malls. Every dystopian movie you've ever seen has taught you to be extremely wary of abandoned malls, and you feel pretty nervous as Daria takes you up a rickety frozen escalator. It's so dark you can barely see your hand in front of your face. You're trying not to show your fear because you don't want to look like a wuss in front of Daria. But you can't hold back a whimper when your foot lands on a step and makes a distinctive about-to-collapse noise. Don't be scared. It's okay, I've climbed all over this place 1,000 times. And anything that isn't already disintegrated is sturdy enough. There's no risk of culling out here because, well, everyone's already been culled. She's gentler towards you than you would have expected, given her cynical and spiky demeanor. You swallow your fear as you reach the top of the escalator and tell her that it's chill. You just have some horror movie associations. Daria turns and pats you stiffly on the arm. You would never tell her this, but her reassuring manner once she's noticed someone in distress kind of reminds you of Branya. It's worth it when you get to the cool part. Come on. Oh, there's a look. I like that look. She continues to be dark for a while, though you see some light up ahead. As you get closer, the hall opens up into a food court, and you see that the light is moonlight shining through the mostly absent roof. And Daria was right. There is something extremely surreal and cool about a decrepit empty food court with the roof caved in. Such baby. I love her so much. Rubble sits atop cafeteria tables and plastic food trays are scattered on the floor and... Okay, that might be the remains of a troll skeleton, still wearing a mostly disintegrated fast food uniform, which is less cool and makes you remember that this place is abandoned because the Condas sent drones here to murder everyone. You want to know the weirdest thing about this mall? It seems like actual adults used to maybe work here. I've gone through a lot of the stores, and some of them are for adult-sized things. There's a store just for, like, shit the drones bring you now. There's army surplus for going off-world, too. If this mall was for adults, it must be really fucking ancient. Jeez. Has it really been that long since there were any adults on this planet? Even after all your time on Alternia, that still kind of freaks you out. What must it be like to grow up entirely without adults? To live on a planet that's nothing but kids? Daria gives you a weird look. What must it be like to have adults down here too? That sounds way more dangerous and stupid. It's not like we're all wigglers. Trolls have to grow out of that mindset pretty fast. People have responsibilities or whatever the fuck. Or at least they pretend to. There's training and stuff for Jades. We're basically trapped. Maybe you'd think that a planet of kids would mean you can do whatever you want, but I've never had any freedom. I'll have even less as an adult. Cloistered Jades aren't even allowed to join the Imperial Army. Instead, we get shipped off to live in isolation. We're forbidden to contribute genetic material to the slurry, and no paling is allowed once we mature. For some, I don't know, bullshit old-fashioned reason that I pretty much don't understand at all. On Alternia, your whole future is decided the second you're hatched. People tell me all the time that I have lucky as a Jade blood, but I don't feel lucky at all. Oof. Yeah, you agree with Daria that the future she's described sounds bleak as hell. Right? It's gonna fucking suck. It's so shitty that I have it good. I mean, at least I don't have certain early death in my future, unlike a lot of low bloods. The system is so fucked up, and it's never gonna change, and I hate it here. I just want a way out of it. Oh, that face. Baby! baby! Oh, honey! I want to cry! Look at that face! Maybe when you go back to your home planet, you could take me with you? The request comes out of left field, and for a few seconds you just blink at her stupidly. She does need a hug. I want to give her a hug. I want to give her so many hugs. Even with all that angry black makeup around her eyes, she just looks so sad. Sad and lost. You wish you had a different answer to give her, but you tell her that you can't take her back to your planet. Because you don't know how, when, or if you're ever going home. You've been trying not to contemplate the future because on the rare occasions that you do let yourself think about it, existential dread tends to take over. Dread. Yeah, that's the word for it. The older I get, the more I realize how shitty things are. I try not to think about it just like you. It still hits home sometimes, and when it does, I don't feel like angry or rebellious. Instead, I feel completely fucking paralyzed. This too is a familiar emotion to you. You feel for Daria, who has wandered over to the middle of the food court and is staring up through the cave-in at the moons. She has her arms wrapped around her middle, and the spiky jewelry and jagged haircut and big black boots don't do anything to make her look less small. You wish you knew what to say to make her feel better. You've done a decent job at cheering up dejected trolls in the past, but it's hard when you're feeling so crappy about your own situation. You mutter something about how things could still get better. You never know what the future holds, yada yada yada, and she looks at you like she knows just how hollow your words are. Oh, you sound just like Branya. Next, are you gonna tell me how important Jade Bloods are and what an honor all this responsibility is? Give me a break. Optimism is for chumps and losers. Keeping grubs safe doesn't matter. The continuation of our species doesn't matter. Nothing any of us do fucking matters. Feel your blood getting hot to match the steel that's now in her voice. The sick part of you finds this train of thought a lot more viscerally satisfying than trying to cheer her up, which wasn't working anyway. You stamp your feet and so does she. I can't believe anyone bothers to try to carve out a real life on this worthless shithole of the planet. There's no point. We might as well all be cold. In the back of your mind, you know you should maybe be disagreeing with some of this, but you're too worked up to care. Maybe Jariah's right. Maybe nothing matters. That's fucking right. Maybe I should just quit. You falter in your righteous fury. Maybe quitting is going a bit far. Maybe the high bloods that go around causing death and destruction just because they can't have the right idea. This is starting to sound not so great. What doesn't sound great about it? Who cares if I decide I don't want to be a caretaker, and instead I just burn shit down for fun? There's no point to anything, so what does it matter? Who cares? Taraya's hands are balled into fists, and her teeth are bared as she glares at you. You open your mouth, maybe to tell her that you care, even though that would probably sound trite, but no words come out. She scoffs and turns away from you and jumps up on a crumbly-looking cafeteria table. You know what? Fuck this. Oh. She has dimples. She has dimples. They're adorable. Friendship is as pointless as everything else. She picks up one of the chairs and you really need to stop being surprised at the strength of even the scrawniest looking trolls and hurls it at the nearest fast food stall. You thought it was just a random throw at first, but it appears that she was aiming with precision because it crashes into a tank of fuel connected to the oven. Not sure how Alternian cooking technology works, but the stall explodes into a huge tinged fireball that knocks you on your ass. Oh, hey, I know how that feels. I know exactly how that feels. Having literally gotten a fireball to the face in my life. Okay, tell me, who else has dimples? I want to know. Oh my god. Yeah. Alright. Oh, that's a look. That's a look. That's a mood right there. You watch in horror from your ass-level vantage point as the flames lick into the restaurants on either side, explosions happening around the food court like dominoes. Dariah stands on her table in the middle of it, unmoving even as fire threatens to envelop her. That's fucking adorable. This is probably the only place I actually like on this whole planet. So good riddance. If it's gone, one less thing to care about. With all the dust and debris, this mall is coming down fast around you. You desperately want to get Dariah out of here, but you desperately want to save yourself more. And Dariah doesn't look like she wants to be saved. You make a feeble attempt, going over to her and trying to grab her around the waist to get her out of here, but she kicks you hard in the chest. Hee hee. Her steel-toed combat boots send you flying. And it's once again 0 days since you last broke your ribs. As used to this pain as you are, it still takes you a second of lying on the floor in agony before you can push yourself up to look back at the food court. A wall of fire now separates you from the tables inside. You can't even see Dariah anymore. Her heart sinks. Maybe she'll come to her senses and pull herself up out of danger and escape through the caved-in roof. Maybe she'll get out some other way. Stumble to your feet, half thinking that maybe you can find water or a fire extinguisher in some part of this mall that isn't burning up. But smoke chokes your lungs, and in your panic, your human survival instincts take over. You dash down the escalator as mall infrastructure starts to crumble around you, and you don't want to abandon Dariah, but it's all you can do to get your own sorry self out of there alive. Game over. Death. But not for you. Rip. I. Let's wander the streets like hoodlums. Here's the thing. Your weirdest and best adventures have happened to you when you've decided to be spontaneous and just let shit happen. Adventures and coolness are both hard things to plan. So what are you suggesting, that we just wander? Her derisive tone makes you hesitate, but well, yes, that's exactly what you were suggesting. Jiraiya gives you a long, considering look. You hold your breath. Then she shrugs. Okay, whatever, sure. Not like I have anything better to do. Let's just go. If you look up on the right in that balcony, can you see who's there? Do you recognize that hairstyle and those horns? Do you see them? It's Gallic and Gorgor. Oh yes, it's them. You meander through the well-maintained cerulean streets heading downtown. Seems like a good opportunity to get to know your new potential friend, so you start by asking her some fairly simple questions. Ugh. How am I? Gee, I don't know. I'm forbidden to leave the stupid caverns, and as a Jade Blood, all I have to look forward to is a life of being forbidden to do things. uh, I like Gallic, though. I can absolutely see why Gallic hates him. How do you think I am? Okay. You try to walk that one back a little. It sounds like Jiraiya is unsatisfied with the Jade Blood setup. That's one way to put it. You could also say I'm unsatisfied with, like, the whole setup of my species. You've been here for a while now. Don't tell me you haven't noticed that every part of our society is transparent bullshit. You glance around because Jiraiya is right. You've been around for a while, and that means you know enough to know that if the wrong people overheard this kind of talk, you'd both get culled on the spot. But everyone here seems distracted by their own nonsense. Cautiously, you concede that, yeah, you've noticed a certain bullshit aroma. Yeah, it all stinks. No one has any kind of real future except for the highest of the high bloods. And actually, I've heard that things pretty much suck for them, too. Some might say that purple bloods are the most disprivileged class of them all. Really? You hearing that again? Oh. You're just going to continue to not comment on that one. Instead, you point out that being a Jade Blood, Jiraiya has a purpose beyond just growing up and becoming fodder in the Imperial Army. Like you've heard other trolls mention. Surely that counts as a real future. Ugh. Don't get me started. Suffice to say, I'm not exactly hype about the purpose that I supposedly have. More like the purpose that was arbitrarily assigned to me. But it's not like I have a choice, and rebelling in any sort of real way would put me in danger of culling. Life here is pretty much just hopeless. Damn. I wish you had a good counter-argument. You want to give her some words of comfort, but what can you even say? Jiraiya's right, shit's grim. At least you're honest. Thanks for not bullshitting me. You know, Linares said you were good to talk to about real stuff. I guess she was right. Huh. You're surprised that Linares is going around talking about you, saying positive things even. But you're more surprised that Jiraiya is bringing her up in a non-derisive context. You didn't know that Jiraiya and Linares were close? Ugh, no, gross. Hate Linares. And not in a romantic way. Or, well... Anyway, never mind. Jiraiya looks embarrassed and flustered and also pissed at you. At least you've gotten the subject away from how hopeless everything is, but still, you don't want this friendship to sour. You're scanning your useless brain for a tactful subject change. You're saved by the footsteps of a new troll approaching. And as luck would have it, you know this troll. It's Tysius. Which makes sense because your meandering has taken you and Jiraiya close to Tysius' favorite book hive. Oh, it's you. What are you doing here? Never mind. I don't even need to ask. You're obviously making friends with this Jade blood. Searching for some dumb shit to do, no doubt. Don't let me keep you. Tysius looks just as exhausted as you remember. You don't want her to go just yet because it's been a while since you've seen her, and you're always eager for an opportunity to catch up with a friend. Especially one of the less murderous ones. Then you notice Jiraiya eyeing Tysius' mug of unidentifiable liquid, and an idea occurs to you. You get excited, bouncing a little on the balls of your feet as you introduce Tysius and Jiraiya to each other. You explain to Tysius with a meaningful look that you hope she'll interpret incorrectly that you and Jiraiya were just conversing about the more unjust aspect of Alternian society and how hopeless everything seems to be. What do you mean, the more unjust aspects? Does Alternian society have aspects that are not unjust? I'm sweeps into studying our legal system and I haven't found any. Jiraiya makes a muffled sound that could be a laugh. You make your meaningful look more meaningful. Yeah, her. I love her. Doesn't Tysius remember that conversation she had with you about justice and the shitty system? The importance of possibly futile work to try and improve things someday? Pissing? Tysius squints at you, and then takes a long slurp from her mug. Unlike Tysius, I am drinking coffee. Right. Yeah, I remember. Wave your hands around. Now we're talking. Tysius is one of the few friends you've made that seems to not only notice that shit was fucked, but wanted to dedicate herself to unfucking the shit as much as she could. Of course, many of your dear friends try to make the world a little better in various clumsy, interpersonal, distinctly Alternian ways. You think of Chixie... Yeah, like that. Think of Chixie striving for her music even when it pits her against high bloods. The baffling but sweet ways that Connell and Anastasia and Gallic and Tagora care for each other. And Fozzer's commitment to political... wait, why did you think of that guy? He's a total chill for the Condis. Anyway, Tysius has a big picture mentality and a cause that she believes in, and the simple fact that she hasn't yet completely given up is inspiring. Jiraiya is struggling with feelings of despair, so maybe Tysius could talk to her about the work that she's been doing. What? No. I'm not struggling. Whatever. I don't even care. Jiraiya kicks at the ground sulkily. Tysius looks her over, her eyes lingering on the jade symbol on her shirt and her spiky black jewelry, then sighs. Sure you don't care. I went through a phase of telling myself that too. Thought it would make it easier to deal, but nah. Tysius pauses for another mug slurp, and you think she might be enjoying the opportunity to monologue a little bit. Jiraiya huffs. The only thing that helps, and I'm not even sure that helps is the right word for it, is finding something to work on in your own little corner. To try and make that make shit a little less. There's nothing I can do in my corner. Pointless to pretend otherwise. That goes for everyone. Like, this whole system is designed to help high blood stamp out dissent in every corner. One troll can't do anything against something like that. Hysius's eyebrow twitches as she stares at Jiraiya, clearly peeved at being interrupted. Uh-oh. Be going better. Well, no shit. What do you take me for? I'm not saying that all it takes is standing up and fighting for what's right or something stupid like that. It's obviously a surefire way to get culled. Well, then what are you saying? How can you even know that whatever piddly little action you're taking will change anything? I can't tell you the future, dumbass. No one can give you a guarantee that any kind of action taken will ultimately be effective. You have to decide for yourself that it's worth it to try anyway. Why would you think it's worth it when everything around us confirms that nothing will ever change? I can't believe you're calling me a dumbass when that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Tysius looks like she's about ready to throw the contents of her mug in Jiraiya's face. Knowing trolls, she'd probably follow up with the mug itself. This is not the conversation you'd hope for at all. You step in before things can get any more heated. You tell Tysius that you're sorry and that you didn't flag her down just so that her ideas could get shit on. You turn to Jiraiya, who is staring at both of you with a defiant look on her face and a stubborn set to her jaw. This kid, she's just so dead set on rebelling against anyone who tries to tell her anything with even the faintest whiff of authority. You really thought that maybe all that attitude could be channeled into something productive that would also help her feel better and possibly even give her a sense of purpose. You're not mad, just disappointed. Ugh. Don't give me that look, okay? I was just stating my opinion. But I guess I could have been less of a bone bulge about it. You're pleasantly surprised that Jiraiya more or less apologized. Tysius looks mollified too. This shit just makes me so angry. Angry and sad and helpless. Like, I don't even know what to do with myself when I really have to think about it. Bingo, unfortunately. I feel the same way. I don't think there's any getting around the helplessness. But what I was trying to say is that working on something that might help fix things someday makes that feel a little less powerful. So what you're saying is that it's just about making yourself feel better? Well, when you put it like that, it sounds bad. I believe I'm working on things that might affect change someday, even if I'm not around to see it. But also, yeah, most of the time it helps me sleep at night too. I tell Jiraiya is a bit disappointed by this. Like she doesn't trust that political rebellion can go hand in hand with making the rebels feel good about themselves. You point out that whether or not Tysius feels good about her work doesn't make the work itself any less effective. Yeah, in the end, the universe doesn't care about how I feel. I'm just one troll trying to do the right thing. Or at least the okay thing. For its own sake, even if it might ultimately be futile. What the fuck else are we gonna do on this bitch of an Alternia? You got me there. I'm bored all the time. There really isn't anything cool to do down in the caverns. I guess during the downtime in my training I could, I don't know, help you out maybe? Not that I have anything to offer other than the book hive and the jade cloisters. Access to that might really help with my research, actually. Give me your number, and we can talk. Is it just your imagination, or does Tysius look a smidgen less tired? The bags under her eyes less baggy, and her back a little straighter. And you think the corners of Daria's lips might be very slightly quirked up? Daria turns her possibly a smile from Tysius to you. This was cool, I guess. Or at least not so bad. But I don't know if it counts as something cool. So I guess we could keep hanging out until more shit happens. You know Daria well enough by now to recognize this for the ringing endorsement that it is. You're about to happily agree with when Tysius pipes up. I'm just heading home from studying, but I'm not tired yet. If you wanted a third wheel to drag along. Three-way friendship combo bob victory! Yay! Slurp. Yay! Alright, I'm gonna take a break. I will be right back. Alright, I'm back. Are we ready to get swole? Here we go. So many muscles! Thank you. Before we start, let's just... I can't with those statues in the background. Majestic muscle beasts. There's some Easter eggs in the crowd. If I can remember them. There is a John Trollsona just to the left of the cage. Other than that, I don't remember what else there is. Well, yeah. Yeah. Dim lights, the din of a roaring crowd, and the smell of horribly overpriced and nauseating concessions. Even across galaxies, timelines, and perhaps even universes, there is still something deeply familiar about a sporting arena. Smash your mother honking face in! There's also something deeply familiar about sports fans. Blah. Such a shame having seats next to the purples. They can be so crude and boorish, don't you agree? Shahoot wouldn't be nearly this loud. Usually. You find yourself here, attending a wrestling show, or a display of muscular theater, to use the troll terminology, thanks to the benevolence of one Amicia Erden. She won the tickets in a raffle and excitedly invited you to come along. You agreed, with some reservations that you quickly expressed. She was quite disappointed, but eventually agreed not to kidnap you and keep you locked up as a living paint jar, since you're buddies and all. What a sweet friend. You have to admit, though, muscular theater isn't really your thing. It's as over-the-top and ridiculous as human wrestling, which makes it perfectly entertaining enough, but it's also, well, a lot more violent. Participants aren't expected to die, as far as you can tell, but you've already seen a few get wheeled off on futuristic hover stretchers with injuries you're not sure they could survive. Oh gosh, she nearly got impaled there. Every match tonight is taking place within a chain-link cage. Spikes surrounding it on both the outside and inside and jut out occasionally from the places where the wires cross. The overall design, in addition to ensuring maximum bloodshed, seems to keep both the wrestlers inside and the audience out. Ironically, it might be safer this way. The current combatants are some olive blood named the Huntress, and a purple blood calling himself Pulpits. Interestingly to you, there is nothing clown-like about him at all. It's almost conspicuous how unclowny he is. if only due to the absurd, absolutely ridiculous amount of clown content you have imbibed in the presence of other purples. The two fighters appear to be nearly evenly matched. The olive troll ducks and weaves amid blindingly fast punches from the purple, slashing at him with grandiose arm gestures, trying to overwhelm him with a barrage of small attacks. Every one of his punches hits hard enough to knock her down, but she always springs up before he can land a second hit. She's incredibly steady on her feet, and quicker than he. In fact, you get the distinct impression that the olive troll is holding back, presumably so as to avoid inciting the crowd. Thus far, you have not seen a single match in which the lower-blooded opponent triumphed over a higher-blooded foe. I must admit, this match is a lot more tense than I was expecting. But I hope it ends soon. There's supposed to be a really famous, muscular theatrist performing next. Her name is Nike Moolah, and she hasn't ever lost a fight. I heard she even beat a Violet Blood once. Nike Moolah, huh? Now that's a name you could befriend. She must be as big a deal as Amicia makes her out to be because she uses her real name instead of some ridiculous made-up nonsense. Like John Cena. Or Hulk Hogan. Oh, look, he got her! You flinch. The purple blood finally managed to get his quarry in his clutches, and he lifts her up by the face, digging his fingers into her skull until you hear a sickening crunch and she collapses to the ground, panting heavily. Can't bring herself back up to her feet, and the announcer calls the match to uproarious applause from the crowds. Two trolls enter the cage and start dragging her out, while the winner basks in the audience's affection. The olive blood looks like she'll probably live, but she's got a dent in her face that probably isn't coming out ever. Ugh. All of a sudden, you think you really need to go, get a bathroom. You mean use the snack. You mean you'll be right back. Oh, okay. Come back soon. This fight is giving me all sorts of ideas for new painting. You quickly make a break for it, jostling your way through the stands and toward the exit of the arena. But before you make it, a voice calls out to you. Some slick-haired and slick-finned violet-blooded guy, wearing a full suit with a tacky flame pattern on it. You, alien. Me? You ask, pointing to yourself nervously. No, the other alien. You swing your head around wildly, looking for the other alien. This bit plays out predictably for a while before you both get on the same page, which is that you are the alien whose attention he wants. You looking to make a little extra buck? No, not really. You never spent all that money you won with Ozdaja. Okay, how about fame? Frankly, you are probably already too famous for your own good. Friendship? Oh, shit, yeah. Sighing with relief, the troll leads you backstage, whilst explaining that he is a promoter for this wrestling ring. One of the trolls that was supposed to perform tonight was eaten by some plant called a troll-devouring catchy-grabber. As such, famed muscular theatrist Nike Moolah has been left with nobody to fight. You will be that nobody, or somebody. We're gonna be a wrestling star. An alien will bring in all sorts of media attention and controversy. Which of course means big bucks for him, and friendship for you! Nike is so friendly, he says, in a tone so insincere that even your friendship-addled brain refuses to believe it. It's okay, you've met worse. There she be. I like the posters. There she be. Oh man. Roller derby troll. Roller derby troll off on the left. Man, I want to see Alternian roller derby. That is definitely something I want to see. Alright, give me a sec. This is gonna be a voice. He takes you into a back room, which seems to be full of performers waiting for their turn on stage. There are all sorts of trolls here, muscular and sweat-soaked. Blue-blooded, more often than not. One troll in particular stands out to you, from her severe expression to her soft, pulsating robot leg, and to the fact that she's the only troll with a fully illustrated sprite. Currently doing bicep curls with a set of spiked weights, puffing with exertion. When the promoter approaches, she looks up with a scowl. I'm busy. He begins to explain that he has brought a new challenger for her to face, but she cuts him off and stands up. She isn't as tall as you expected, but damn if she isn't dense, packing more brawn than any troll you've met. Do you want to know what happens, sister, to people who disturb my preparations? Do you want to experience the bone-crushing, torso-shattering impact of these ladies right here? Well, do you? She flexes. God, those muscles are huge. The promoter tells her that she really doesn't need to keep up the act. There's no cameras back here. She gives him a stern look which distinctly suggests that she has never dropped kayfabe in her life and has no intention of starting now. Make it quick. The promoter makes it quick. So, let me get this straight. You expect me, to perform with this thing. Seems less than impressed, but you find reasonable. Magnificent legs aside, you don't really look like the wrestling type. Don't you dare insult me, sister! I'd rather you pulled a Rusty from the audience than subjected me to this humiliation. Oh, but you are more than just an audience member, frail though you may be. You have the heart and soul of a wrestler. You have long, much longer than about 5 minutes, you thoroughly assure her, waited for an opportune opening such as this, to reveal your true passion to the world, to come alive on stage and grapple and tumble with the best of them. For eons you have thirsted for the chance to sing the song of sinew, the hymn of heft, the melody of muscle. And she got them tiggle bitties. Would that you could be blessed by the opportunity to live the life of the athlete, to perform alongside your hero, to show the world that you too love to do the muscly thing. Ah, that you might just... Okay, I get it. Glances over at the promoter, then back to you. It does seem surprisingly articulate for a lesser being. But is it ready for a butt-clenching, flesh-abrading, knuckle-blistering, muscle-rippling smackdown from uptown? There you go. There's a sprite for you. Actually, this is starting to sound a little much for you. You aren't sure you can quite match her, enthusiasm for the craft. Who do you think you are, sister? You, who has the globes to step to me. You came into my dressing room with those flimsy, stringy, insultingly puny arms of yours. Look me in my eyes and challenge me to a match. Beg for the chance to spar with me, and then cluck out like the pathetic alien whelp you are. Get out of my sight. Head bowed low, you retreat to the safety, comfort, and friendless expanse that is the audience. You can't even bear to look at Nike when she goes out and performs. You're so saddened by the loss of a potential chum. Well, that, and it's kind of grisly watching her pull low blood challengers from the audience and smash their faces into the spikes. Smash! Yeah. Man, this voice is killing me already. Alright, let's do the thing. Yes! You nod your head confidently. Blister my knuckles and abrade my flesh, you say. Let's get this smackdown started. You've got guts, at least. She turns to the promoter and gives him a curt nod. The match is on. Then she turns back to you. Now, sister, we need to discuss the show. I will make all the decisions. You will respond adequately to the storyline I present. It will be thus. The alien invader challenges me in an exhibition match to topple the matriarchy. Fight valiantly and show an entertaining display of strength. But in the end, as is right and proper, the nobler hue of the hemo spectrum. There you go. There you go. Prevails again. She starts flexing and showing off for an imaginary audience before turning back to you. Any questions, sister? Yes, actually. You do have a couple of questions. First, Will you die? No! Unless you're particularly disgustingly weak, in which case, maybe. Such is the risk we take, we who indulge in that most noble and dignified of sports. I was willing to give up my leg for this craft. Is your life such a heavy price to pay for a tale that will transcend us and be remembered in the annals of muscular history? Is it, sister? Well, it's rhetorical. Right. Secondly, when she says exhibition match, it is a muscular theater term, referring to a match staged for entertainment that does not affect one's ranking in the flexiladder. We will not be sparring in the nude. Such glorious displays of raw, chiseled physique are reserved for the intergalactic Trolympics. No, yeah, you got that. Mostly you were wondering if it meant the loser's head being exhibited on a pike or some other bloodthirsty nonsense. Do not denigrate this noble sport with claims of savagery. Thirdly, you're getting the sense that she's going to be playing the heel, yeah? The what? You explain that in your own cultural equivalent of muscular theater, performers generally fall into the category of face or heel, wherein the face is the rule-abiding and sympathetic figure the audience is meant to root for, whereas the heel takes on a more aggressive and unlikable personality. What part of my personality is unlikable? You dare suggest, sister, that the audience won't be roaring in thunderous applause and admiration as I conquer yet another pitiful foe? You tell her, you know what, she can be both the face and the heel, and you'll just be subjugated under my heel? Yes, exactly. Hey, Moolah, chatting time's over. You're up. She jerks her head back at you and silently marches out of the room. You begin to follow, and the promoter directs you to your entrance on the other side of the arena. You wait nervously for your cue to enter. Well, folks, we had some technical difficulties, but here comes the match you've all been waiting for. Wearing the belt of champions and a leg of her own design, she's ready to gut the competition. A paragon of power, a lady of legwork, a true blue Ruffy annihilator in the making. Clap those hands and activate your screech crevices. It's Nike Moolah. Nike approaches the cage to thunderous applause, raising her arms and soaking in all the praise. Oh God. There, have that image. Have it. Just have it. She flexes and poses as the audience throws glasses of milk at her, which shatter uselessly around her steely frame. This appears to be a common ritual for her. Yeah. She steps through one of the cage doors and it slams shut behind her, locking tight. With her arm... Excuse me. With her arms crossed and her teeth firmly gritted, she waits you. As the announcer begins a new intro speech, you step forward. And in the other corner, frail in stature, weak in knees, wearing a perpetual look of befuddlement, we have some messed up low-blood alien. How has this absurd mockery of life not been culled yet? Perhaps only so fate could lead them to their thrashing at the bloodthirsty hands and barbed foot of the Grand Nike. A decent portion of the crowd boos at you during your approach, which you find unsurprising. You have to dodge a hail of old boots and rotten fruit. Somebody throws an entire piano at you. Relatively unfazed, you enter the ring and hear the door close behind you. So, you've come here, alien, to prove your kind superior to the unbreakable, unstoppable troll species. Yeah, you shout. Your kind is so superior to trolls. And you, their emissary. Does this creature look superior to you, my theater enthusiasts? She turns to the audience, throwing out a hand and gesture to you. They boo. This sorry specimen, the best its planet can offer. More boos. You counter that you came more than prepared to tackle the matriarchy. Yeah, that. So you claim to be prepared. But are you prepared to face these 24-inch slither noodles? Her arms are roughly the size of my waist. Bigger, actually. She flexes so hard the announcer's sleeves explode. So be it. I'll crush you in a single blow. You're expecting a referee to start the match, but then it occurs to you that there is no referee. Somewhere in the distance, a bullhorn sounds, which is apparently the signal to begin. Without taking her eyes off you, Nike grabs the cage wall behind her and hoists herself up effortlessly, scaling it in reverse until she reaches the top. The announcer is screaming something about this move being called the Spiky Nike. Once she finishes her ascension, excuse me, allergies. Nike deftly leaps from the edge of the cage and spins down toward you. Her body twists and writhes in multiple blindingly fast flips before her robotic leg comes slouching at you. You spend quite some time admiring her dazzling form before it occurs to you that you should probably move. You duck and roll forwards, feeling the point of her leg just barely graze your scalp. The announcer shouts, "First blood!" as you feel a light trickle down the back of your neck. Some members of the crowd are booing, presumably because they just noticed the color of your blood. Between the neon lighting and distance, they probably just think it's rust-colored and not a mutant red, so at least you have that going for you. There's a look for you. What you don't have going for you is time to think about your next move, because Nike pivots on her heel and charges at you. This time, she's going for a more theatric throw. Two powerful hands grab you and lift you over her shoulder, where you nearly gore yourself on one of her horns in your struggle to escape. You plant two hands on her back and push hard, and you are delighted to find that her grip loosens and you go tumbling over her back, landing with a clumsy stagger on your feet. You're not sure if she let you get away with that one. Sorry. for the sake of the show, or if you just slipped out of her sweat-soaked palms, but you're going to charitably assume the former. She turns to face you, grunting and baring her fangs. She charges, rearing back a fist and then sending it barreling towards your fragile human nose. You leap out of the way, only narrowly dodging it. All you've done is avoid me, coward. Where's your killer instincts? Do I scare you? Are you loath to face my true blue, muscle-bound beauty? You take this as your cue to attack, and instead, you run full tilt away from her. It isn't fear carrying you, you swear. Fool! There's no running or hiding from Nike Moolah. Stand and fight! She sprints toward you as you flee. The crowd is on tenterhooks. Nobody knows what you're doing, least of all you. But you think you can pull something cool out of this. You leap at the cage wall, barely dodging the spikes that line it, and use the slight amount of give in the chain link wires to springboard you off. With an exuberant grin, you go flying toward her, arm held out for a classic clothesline maneuver, and then you collide with her own arm, and whop! When you wake up, you are lying on what appears to be an exercise mat. You can feel a telltale throbbing sensation in your face that indicates a black eye. The rest of you, thankfully, doesn't feel particularly hurt. Let's take a look at this room. That is an exercise room. I wouldn't want to use any of that stuff. Nearby, you can hear the huff and puff of Zurchin. You glance over and spot Nike training on one of those leg press machines you always saw in gyms, but never had the courage to attempt to use. I actually like the leg press. She's wearing an exercise outfit which, despite its vastly different purpose, looks almost exactly like the outfit she wore in the ring. It has all the functions of a fitness aficionado would want. It's loose, it's breathable, and the artists don't have to draw a second set of sprites for it. As soon as she notices you're awake, she turns to speak to you. She doesn't even stop her workout. You're finally awake, sister. Welcome to my hive. I have spent so much time, so much precious, valuable time waiting for you to open your eyes. Oh God, how long have you been out? About 40 minutes. Ooh, that's not so bad, is it? Perhaps, but only when compared to your abysmal performance in the ring. To be knocked out cold by your own attack. Wretched. I'm an impossible foe to conquer, and yet even a Rusty has towed me longer in the realm of mortal combat. You are weak, sister. Offensively so. She slams her foot forward with such velocity the weight on the leg press goes flying off and leaves a dent in the floor. Grunting, she stands, takes a long swig from a bottle, and then approaches you with fire in her eyes. What do you have to say for yourself? You scuttle backwards, preferring only a sheepish smile. You're, sorry, you guess? I didn't bring you here for apologies. I brought you here to see your heart ignite with the will to improve. You are not a worthless being. You have a flair for the theatrics, an appreciation for the sport, and a shining soul filled of only the most intractable determination. You could be so much more than you are, sister. I could make you so much more. Your gaze around you and behold the Bronosium. There you go. Have that one. You obediently cast said gaze around. This room is massive and littered with training equipment as far as the eye can see. Much of it resembles exercise machines like the ones you had in gyms back on Earth, but there is plenty more that looks far more alien and deadly. A treadmill which appears to throw the runner into a vat of acid if they fall off. A series of swinging axes that would look at home in a dungeon. 3 different varieties of Iron Maiden, each more horrific than the last. This is presumably Nike's personal workout studio, but you could easily mistake it for a torture chamber. You wonder if Ardata has ever considered a job as a personal trainer? Maybe you should bring it up with her. There are some who may be worthy of my expertise. It is here that I can forge them, just as I forge myself into beings of adamantine strength. The journey will be harsh. If you are made of weaker stuff than I believe, you will perish in agony. But if your core is strong, and your will of iron, yours will be in unquenchable might. Oh, this is killing me. Jeez. She extends a hand to you, her jaw set. Join me, sister, and together we shall ascend to the tumescent heights of muscular perfection. Vibrate. There's a look in her eyes that you have never seen before, one of hope, of faith. Her arm vibrates, muscles quaking. Do you take it? Yeah? How would that be? If she manages... if she managed to get a hold of him, he might be fucked. But he's Dirk. He's old Dirk. So fast. You don't hesitate. You begin to offer your hand, but under her steely gaze your resolve wavers. This all seems like a lot. Too much even. Such fast boy. You don't know if you're made of stuff tough enough for the training she seems to be offering. You would like to prove yourself, to become strong. You really would. But does she perhaps, just maybe, have any courses a little easier on soft and squishy creatures like yourself? Nah, she probably wouldn't catch him. The expression on her face grows terrifyingly blank. She's not scowling or snarling or sickened or any other S word. She just looks at you with the vaguest hint of disappointment dripping from her otherwise neutral expression. I see. You're like all the rest, aren't you? Unworthy. Receive my gifts. Unwilling to reach your full potential. A pathetic, simpering thing playing that dreams of muscular greatness it can never achieve because it doesn't have the will for it. You're an insult to my art. You spit on my passion. Get the fuck out of my face and do not ever dare to return. Shrinking under her steely gaze, you quickly flee her hive. Is this it for you? Is the screen going to fade to black, replaced by a goofy, cartoonish end card, and some somber game over music composed by artistic genius James Roach? No, you refuse. You are not yet ready to call this friendship kaput. You'll show her and her draconic methods up, damn it. It's time to get ripped. You're gonna do it your own way, and then return, and she will be so utterly impressed by your muscular growth that she will have no choice but to admit that you are friend material. Sadly, you do not know any other blue bloods characterized by an absurd love of muscles and bodybuilding. They're basically all total nerds, actually. But you can perhaps think of someone from nearby Hue who can help you. Her door swings open with gusto, and you are greeted by a familiar smiling face. Oh, what an unexpected surprise! You really should have called, or texted, or did literally anything else to alert me to the fact that you wanted to visit me on such short notice when my schedule is so terribly packed. But that's all right. I can squeeze in a meeting, I'm sure. Do come in. Do come in. Her. And her. Both of the hers. You step past the threshold of the door and into her office/living room. Tysius is sprawled out across the couch, lazily holding a book up to her face. What did I... Okay. Oh, I pressed... Okay. It looks like she's studying, which is a relief to you, because you would have felt terrible if you had interrupted some intimate time between them. Unless studying is intimate for them? You kind of hope studying isn't intimate for anyone. The prospect terrifies. Would you like to join me and Zizi for some grub loaf? It's no imposition, I promise. You absolutely would. You didn't know Stelsa was a cook on top of everything else she does. Oh, no, I could never. There simply isn't enough time. I'm just ordering from Door Smash. It's excellent stuff, really it is. Zizi has some very colorful words for the taste. It's pretty bitchin'. Yes, it is certainly that. Stelsa is wonderful. And pencil our good friend here in for a dinner date, can you, darling? They're literally right here already. We don't need to do that. Stelsa pauses and blinks as if processing a foreign concept. Right! Sometimes Stelsa forgets that you don't have to put everything on a schedule, which is fair. School feeding changes a troll. Stelsa pulls up a chair and gestures for you to sit down in front of her desk. All that said, while we wait for the meal to arrive, let's get down to brass tacks. What brings you to my lovely abode tonight? maybe they just want to see you. People don't always need a reason beyond that. You actually do have a reason, though. Shit. You explained to Stelsa that you have a friend, more accurately, a friend-to-be, or perhaps acquaintance, or perhaps a person of chum-adjacent quality, who you would like to impress through the pursuit of personal fitness. You recall that Stelsa was jogging when you met her, so maybe she could help you put together a fitness routine? And you could do some workouts together? Her expression lights up. Look at those dimples. Look at those dimples. Her expression lights up and she clasps her hands together. Oh, goodness, I would absolutely love that. My poor Zizi is usually far too tired and far too busy. Sometimes I don't even know how I manage it myself. So I'd absolutely love a partner to keep train says yet running on time. Assuming, of course, you won't be late yourself and can keep up with my pace. So adorbs. Fair warning, it's blistering. Isn't it though? Thanks, sweetums. You confidently assert that, if nothing else, you can keep pace with her. Your legs have seen a lot of use. Walking, running, fleeing, prostrating yourself before clowns. You know, the usual. Excellent! We'll set up some meetings and then I'll add you to my schedule. My people will call your people, etc., etc. Thanks for visiting. It's been ever so lovely to see you. Toodaloo! She's halfway through shoving you out the door when you remind her that she invited you in for Grublow. She hastily and apologetically pulls you back inside, Tysius snickering in the background. Don't know what I'd do if I didn't have stealth. Someone has to be the energetic one in this quadrant. The contrast is certainly a stark one. Tysius considered quaffing energy drinks here or there. Perhaps they could keep her pep up. 1, I'd probably literally die. 2, you don't want to see me on energy drinks. Nobody does. Fair. So cute. Both of them. You spend a while longer chatting with Tysius before the delivery arrives, and the three of you have dinner together. The grub loaf is exactly as bitchin' as advertised. A wonderful meal with wonderful friends, the perfect precursor to the fitness montage yet to come. You visit Stelsa multiple days a week, fitting yourself into her incredibly convoluted and packed schedule. The feat doesn't actually prove very hard. You basically only exist to spend time with friends. Her equipment is delightfully free of torture devices. Besides her step machine, she also owns quite a bit of smaller exercise paraphernalia. There I go, choking on nothing. Aerobics doodads and thingamajigs, yoga mats, jogging outfits. Even one of those huge, bouncy exercise balls, which she bans you from using after you accidentally send it careening into a carefully organized stack of books. Stelsa carries herself forward with a peppy, always-on sense of gusto that can be difficult to keep up with. But her bright smile and encouraging attitude do wonders to keep you invested, to convince you that you really can acquire the swolehood you've dreamed of. By the end of the perigee, you are, well, you wouldn't exactly call yourself ripped, but your muscles are definitely toned in a way they previously were not. You feel hale and healthy, more energetic than ever, with a bit of an extra pep in your step. Apparently, regular exercise makes you feel good. Wild. As you look at yourself in the reflection of an acidic acid puddle, you flex and watch your muscles bulge. Fuck yeah, it's time. At least you hope it's time. Now I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to get weird. This is going to get weird. And this is the death ending. This is a weird death ending. Very weird. Climb into your scuttle buggy and prepare to set the autopilot to Nike's place, but something stills your hand. Some strange sensation that has been slowly, surely settling in your stomach. A sense of unease, of dread. Your days of foolish ignorance are long past, and in their place are a burgeoning understanding of the universe in which you exist, and the harsh laws by which it rules its inhabitants. You are beginning to fear, made the wrong choice. With all the consequences such a lapse in judgment entails. Will you ever truly befriend Nike, or are you cursed to live, for who knows how long, in a world without her sweet smile to cure your insatiable addiction? Mayhap you need not wonder. Mayhap the time has come to look inside yourself and know. You are going to give your chakras one real motherfucker of a blitzing. It's going to take mood music of the highest caliber. Having picked up some meditative tips from Boulder, you navigate your Scuttle Buggy's radio dial to an achromatic buzz station, which is currently playing some soothing ocean sounds. The gentle lap of water meeting the shore. The rhythmic beat of the tide, as steady and sweet as a mother's heartbeat. It's interspersed with distant honks and weird animal chittering. Of course, because this is still fucking Alternia. You lean back into your seat, reclining it as far as it can go, and sink into the cushiony softness. Something sharp is poking at your rib, but you try to ignore it. You close your eyes and allow the white noise to flood your senses, blocking everything else out. Oh yeah, you are really vibing this shit right now. Chakra status blitz to high hell. You imagine causality as a river. Every choice a branch. Tributaries upon tributaries winding ever downward, pooling in lakes of inevitability. The pit in your stomach gnaws. It all ends here. Stagnant, bitter water, reeking of death. The ocean ever out of reach. Your soul ever yearning for the single solitary estuary among all the ceaseless spillways. Take a deep breath. Water laps at your sides and tickles your ears. You are adrift. You feel the gentle bob as you float down the river, hear the rush of a ticking clock. Gravity is time pulling you ever forward. Which river is this? To what end does it deliver you? Your breathing slows, then shudders. You feel the rapids approach. The rivers blur, then shift. Your heart rewinds, misses a beat. A surge of emotion, water streaking down the curve of your cheek. Your lungs ache. Which lungs? Which river? Which you? You try to focus, but the water beats at your brows, lashing your arms and legs. Too tired to swim. You try for another deep breath, but nothing comes. With a tumultuous gasp, you sink beneath the surface, to the churning darkness below. Here, amidst the battering onslaught, the images come. Whirls of emotion, of sound, of thought. Memories best forgotten or never known. Lakes meant to remain uncharted. The crack of thunder, rain and tearfall, a single drop of olive. The record skips. Peace through rage. The whirl of the carousel. Horses whinny as the calliope sings. The circle takes you. Searching eyes implore you. The puppet strings stretch toward the moon. The flash of a blade. The spray of blood. Her strings are cut. Crackle of energy. The world gone grayscale. Eyes deeper than the deepest pit. Shuddering final breath. Now, while I'm reading this, make sure to read the inner caption, because I won't be reading that out loud. You are lost, lungs burning, water clogging every inch. You furrow your brow. Think, find your river. Coughing, wheezing, a final rattling gasp. Panic seizes you. A resounding crack. The stamp of hooves. The ricochet of gunfire. The death of one, of thousands. A low, sinister honk. Footfalls, loud and deep. The swing of a club. Blood on the pavement. Dark, acrid smoke. Indistinct voices and crackling intercom. A lurch beneath you, feet thrown out, neon energy crackling green. Choking, desperate, lungs aflame, you focus your will. Where are you? Which are you? Find your river. Piercing eyes. A stern, uncompromising gaze. The singe of acid. Crushing spikes. The body worn to nothing. All for her approval. Puff of exertion. Gray muscles flex and spirits lighten. A gulp of water. The shine of a smile. A looping tape, mirrors and mirrors. The mind, like time, infinite. The tributary splits and you, finally, drift down your chosen route. Freshwater visions as you float toward the surface. Carefree decision, scuttling legs in the thrum of an engine, cityscapes passing by. Stern anger, a fist tightly clenched, shaking, barely restrained. Hope crushed under rigid foot. Plan poorly conceived. Desperation, madness, friendship at all costs. Navy blood pooling on the concrete. Troll and plan both collapsing. Cold hatred in her eyes. Tense footfalls on the pavement. Muscles strained to exertion. Exhaustion. The sun rising over a desperate chase. Escape, sweet bliss soon to shatter. Blood and bone turned to steel. Fruitless assistance, your clothing, your soul stained with blood. No more. No more. One more step. One more desperate step. One foot after another in the endless chase. Drenched in fear, in sweat, hidden but not well enough. The curtains fall, one final heartbeat, at the end of all things. You emerge from beneath the surface with a gasp, coughing up water, and oh, it's just you, sitting in your scuttle buggy, gentle white noise still playing on the radio. We've got a seer on our hands. That much is obvious. You take a moment to catch your breath, your heart thumping against your ribcage like it wants to crawl out and beat you senseless for subjecting it to all that horse shit. Whew, okay, enough meditation for one day. You think you're just going to reach over and kinda set the autopilot to Stelz's house instead of Nike's. Yeah. You have no idea if this will avert or merely delay some horrifying and grisly end or another, but it's better than the alternative. And besides, you really want some more of that bitchin' grub loaf. Speculate away, but I can tell you that was not imagination. You need a minute? Yeah, quite possibly. Alright, let's say we get that good ending. Take her hand. You take her hand, staring into those hopeful eyes. Oh, to see that deep sapphire blue fill with the glow of friendship. She squeezes your hand so tightly you feel your fingers fracturing. Excellent. I knew you had the spark. Now to make a flame. Grind and crush and pummel the flint until it bursts into the roaring blaze of strength. Today I shall begin by testing your limits. Come. She leads you to the treadmill and the deep, bubbling pit of acid directly behind it. You nervously step on. We're going to measure your speed and stamina. Run until you can run no longer. Starts up the machine. She gives you a nice, breezy jogging pace at first, but the treads quickly begin to whir away at a blindingly fast rate. You're sprinting as hard as you can to keep up, holding desperately onto the arms of the treadmill. Come on, sister! Grit your teeth! Put some thrust sinew into it! If you're not evacuating your acid tract by the time you're done, you aren't trying hard enough. Sweat beads on your forehead as you push your legs to the limit, running like you've been chased by an angry drone. Your feet must be blurring like Sonic the fucking Hedgehog by now. The treads are moving ever faster, and you can almost feel yourself slipping. Got to hold... Ah! You lose your grip and go flying backwards, narrowly grasping onto the edge of the pit and dangling into it, your toes singed by the acid. Youch! You hoist yourself up over the edge and roll to the side, hissing. Nike stands over you, clucking her tongue. Top speed, 12 miles per hour. That's good, right? For a bronze blood. Next test. She takes you from machine to machine in quick succession, each time commenting on your skill level. Your biceps are as terrible as Rusty's. Your lungs are gold at best. Your legs an unexpected cerulean. All the while taunting you, encouraging you to push yourself further. The desiccated corpse of my ancestor could do better than this. You struggle to deadlift a giant barbell made of dead monster skulls. Are you ready? Are you going to inject dismay fluid all night long, or are you going to woman up? You go toe-to-toe with a punching bag that shoots sonic blasts at you whenever you hit it. Zip up or get ejected on the nearest solar execution barge. You sob as she forces you to do 30 minutes of free-form jazzercise. Your jazz hands are terrible! By the time an hour is up, you're panting and huffing, desperate for a break. Nike finally relents. Your reward is for staying alive thus far. Stay hydrated, sister. She tosses you one of those protein shaker bottles that gym buffs are always chugging from. You regard the mixture with curiosity for a moment. Regard the mixture within curiously for a moment, before throwing caution to the wind and gulping some down. When has imbibing alien substances ever hurt you before? But when the flavor hits your taste buds, you almost retch. Is this Gatorade mixed with milk? Nutritious and delicious. You keep chugging it. You need the liquids foul, though they be. All right, lactose break over. Let's continue. She next leads you over to one of those Iron Maidens. This one doesn't actually look spiked. It just has a blunt, bumpy surface on the inside. Get in. What? Get in, sister! Lol. You reluctantly step inside the Iron Maiden and the doors clamp shut around you. This thing is far too tight for you. and the bumps are pressed into you from all sides, threatening to squeeze you away into nothing. You groan and push back against the walls, desperately trying to keep them from crushing you into a little human waffle. Just when you think your strength is about to give out, the maiden opens. Pressure resistance about olive level. These results are surprisingly adequate. Your potential continues to shine. Good work. This halfway point seems to mark a change in her attitude as you continue to, just barely, persevere through everything she throws at you. Like a shake weight so powerful it leaves you shuddering intermittently through the next few exercises. Keep steady, sister. Don't lose heart on me now. A rowing machine that douses you with boiling water if you can't keep up the pace. Oh, go, go, we'll make a fuchsia medalist of you yet. Literally being chased around a field outside by a giant toothy monster. Don't you dare allow this thing the satisfaction of feasting on your bones. After hours of this grueling work, you finally collapse. You think some of your bones are broken. Your heartbeat is coming in quick and irregular pulses, and you can hardly breathe. Your vision blurs and shifts at the edges. God, you're amazed you haven't passed out yet. Get up! Here's a look for you. Have that one. Have that one on me. You glance weakly up at Nike, expecting her to be looking down at you with disdain, but instead you see her crouching down and offering you her hand, wearing a smile. You take her hand and she pulls you up to your feet. I don't know. Would she? The look on her face now resembles pride, and when she claps a palm down on your shoulder, it only kind of hurts. You've done well, sister. If I threw everything I had at you and you soldiered on, with a head held high, even as your body broke beneath the weight. That is a face. I have never seen such commitment, such strength of heart and soul, such dedication to the craft, such appreciation for the most righteous of pursuits. You are no mere workout partner. You are a workout friend. A light blossoms inside you, like the neighing of a horse. This feeling of power, of strength, of the bond between warriors, this is real and true. And this light will never, ever leave you. As you bask here in the satisfied and sweaty glow of a good workout, you realize that planets, universes, dimensions, realities, powers, principalities, and cosmos come and go. But being swole as fuck is forever. Victory! Well, we made it through. Yes, friendship! Let's take a look at the friend roster. The Golden Rule. You introduced 2 kindred souls. True Blue. You reached tumescent heights of muscular perfection. And the credits. Our writers today C.L. Kyle did Daria. And David Turnbull wrote Nike. Yes, Lonk next. Character artists. Adrian Garcia. Background artist Phil Gibson. Ending illustrations. Also Phil Gibson. And as for our musicians, James Roach wrote Daria's theme, entitled Trollkind Cannot Gain Any... Oh, Gigas, fuck. No, I'm not reading that. Fuck that. You know what that's from. Everybody knows what that's from. Fuck that. He also wrote Nike's theme. LMAO, I still don't know if it's Nikki or Nike, like the shoe, not like the name Mike. Alright. That was volume 17. And I believe, if I remember correctly, next volume is the longest one written. Yep. God, that was a long stream. What was that, nearly 2.5 hours? Alright, fun times. Thank you for joining. This is Kit. I will eventually, as I always say, eventually load these up onto YouTube. And here's a reminder of my channel. Duh. Thanks for joining. Have a good one.